Yes, sir.
Microphone's on.
Microphone's on. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided and advertised. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, well, first of all, as you can see, Jay's not here. He had something to take care of in Delaware, so he's excused from this meeting. Carol, would you call roll, please?
Sure. Jay's excused. Shane?
Here.
I'm here. Carol Sick?
Here.
Barb? Here. George W.? Here. Oh, it says you abstained. Oh, the meetings. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
George A. is here. Jim?
Yes, here.
Ron?
Yep.
Frank?
Frank.
Okay.
Okay, all right, let's take a minute to review the minutes from last meeting.
Yep, we do.
Entertain a motion, Mr. Chairman?
We're going to have to follow up on the 624 Broad Street. I'm not familiar with if Jay has found out anything. Do you know anything
I
about it?
don't know if he found out, but that was my area. And
Okay.
we approved one tree.
Do you know what
They
kind of
cut
trees
down
they
two.
were?
Pardon me?
What kind of tree was it?
It was cut, I don't know.
Oh, okay,
But there were two, and the larger one was cut down, and we decided that was healthy.
oh, okay.
So Jay wrote a letter and said he wanted a good reason why they cut it down.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't get that by April 2nd, he's going to take further action. But I don't, he wrote the letter, I don't know what happened.
Okay, okay, I'll have to follow up with him, or at least at the next meeting, we'll have to find out what transpired with that. Anyone have any changes or corrections? No? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Second
Carol?
that.
Jim seconded.
Jim, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now,
One abstention.
yes. 'Cause all right, do we have any guests in the audience today? I'm not familiar with who you are.
Justin Riggs, Deputy City Manager. Just
Oh, okay,
come down and introduce myself.
okay. Well, nice to meet you.
Paul will be in momentarily.
I see him out there. He's waiting in the wings. Okay. As far as, well, you're the intern, right? Yeah, we met her at the last meeting, yes.
We
Sorry.
met you twice last meeting, I think.
Yes, I know. And I still forgot your name. Michelle. Okay.
That was funny.
All right, old business, Arbor Day.
Here.
I arranged to have a tree planted at the Nature Center. We decided on that last meeting that a tree should be planted there. So a Sweet Bay magnolia is going to be planted there. It actually should be delivered on Thursday of this week from Cape Shore Gardens. And it should do well in that area because it's right across from the bay, and it's a native species, so it should have a good chance of being successful there. I'm not sure if anything else is going on with the school. I haven't heard anything else back about the readings. I don't know. Did you do something with that before, Carol?
Yeah, we did. We did a couple things. One year, we went in and Jay spoke to the auditorium and talked all about the shade tree and the importance of trees and how you take care of them. The next year, we went in and we had a big assembly. We presented a book
Okay.
that I got from Gretchen at her idea
Okay.
at the Nature Center. And again, Jay talked, and the whole school was out on the lawn in the back.
Okay.
I don't remember ever reading.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay. But you did mention a book at the last meeting.
I
Yes.
think I did.
Yeah. Are you going to go forward with that? Have you been in touch
Nobody's,
with?
we really didn't decide.
I know,
No, kind of people just pushed it over, so.
yeah. Well, we have the tree. Should we do a book too? What do we think about that?
Present it to the school
Yeah.
library again.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And I don't know about reading. I said I'd be willing to go in and read to an older group of students, but I don't know any contact person as of yet.
As of now, there's no books chosen. We still have to choose the books.
Right.
I went to Gretchen at the Nature Center and asked her, and she suggested one. I think the year before that, I picked one.
Okay.
But we did it a couple years.
And this is appropriate for what grade level?
Well, K to 6, it
K
could
through
be
6.
K to 4 and whatever, as long as it cut a few grades, covered a few grades.
Yeah. Well, I think we should go through with that again. I mean, I would say that's a good idea. You know, if you want to, would you want to take that upon yourself to speak with Gretchen or whatever and find?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And we have a date and time for these readings?
I don't have any dates or times for readings.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody else is willing to go in and read. I said I would.
I would go to it.
You would too? Okay. I would do it more on a
The
classroom
only problem
basis,
would be
though.
a conflict if there is one. I mean, I would, but I just need
Right.
to know date and time, that's all.
Well, I'll have to get in touch with the school, I guess, the principal, and see what's a good time, and I don't know if we need, we did things with the school before. I was there for a planting, I remember the one time, and we didn't need clearances or anything, so I don't think that's going to be an issue.
I can give you, excuse me, I can give you the contact to the school administrator after the meeting.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Last section.
Thanks.
I thought you knew the guy.
All right, the 60-day sidewalk tree assessment, did anyone come up with any issues in their district? I guess that's what we're
I have a list. I think
talking
Carol
about this
does
time.
too.
Okay.
I got a list of 9 trees that look terrible.
From your,
Yeah,
district?
from my area.
okay.
So I don't know what we're supposed to do with them, though.
I know, I guess we're just, I think
to
it would
them?
be best if they're all street trees, in my opinion, I think the entire body of us should look at these trees. I don't think it should fall onto one person. That's just my
I
opinion.
stated my opposition to it right from the beginning, saying that I think we should be more reactive than proactive. I think the proactive end should be more from paid city employees. You know, you're going out and you're assessing somebody's sidewalk,
Well, that's the problem, too.
which really isn't, I don't feel, in our description of
Right.
our duties here.
Right.
I don't want to be looked at as a rat, so to say, of neighbors, and if they put in for the request, then we're reactive to it. We go there, we assess it, and we see whether or not it's tree roots that are raising the sidewalk slabs, and we make a decision from there. But for us to be proactive, I feel that that's paid city employees should be doing that.
Okay.
Should we give
I
our list?
agree with Jim.
Should we give our list then to paid city employees?
What does the list consist of? Are we talking about sidewalks or trees?
I was talking about sidewalks uprooted by trees.
I would give the list to the city manager. And that's,
That's what I thought the discussion was, really initially was not as much a tree assessment, but an assessment of the
Sidewalks.
sidewalks.
Sidewalks,
That's
correct.
what-
Were being lifted up by,
So
tree
for us to
roots all
stay
over
anonymous
town.
and
Yeah,
saying,
that's what I thought.
if we do see something, just hand it off to the city manager, and then we're out of it from.
I would recommend it for that,
Yes.
for the sidewalks.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I just thought that's what we were, initially,
That's
that
it,
was the
It is.
context of what we
Right.
were doing. We
It
weren't
is.
looking at trees or just.
I just don't want it on record that I'm the one who brought it forth to say that, well, such and such address has a tripping issue on their sidewalk, and therefore I believe that it should be addressed.
I think a
I
statement.
don't think that's in my
Could
purview
have
to do
one,
that.
potentially.
You want to put me on a payroll, that's a different story. I'm not on a payroll to do that.
but, you know, then like you were saying, that it also coincides with the tree itself, you know? Is the sidewalk in such bad repair, and, you know, will fixing that sidewalk cause damage to the tree? And what condition is the tree already, you know? So I think it does all go together, but if, you know, if we force someone to fix a sidewalk, we might be hurting ourselves with the tree, you know?
Well, we have the program in place to work on sidewalks collaboratively,
Right.
you know, with the residents. If I remember, kind of this was your idea, and I thought your idea was you wanted to ensure that people, didn't get hurt, and I think that's, that's a good goal. How we get there is another.
Yeah, I didn't really want us to get into a legal thing.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
wanted.
that's my point. I think that's, again, to be proactive in something like this should really be somebody who is in a more official capacity. I know technically we're considered official capacity, but we're not on a city payroll. We're not.
No, we can't.
I believe we have paid employees who can do this.
I think
That's
we
my
should-
opinion on it.
We should probably let somebody be aware that it's a tripping hazard or whatever, and the city can take care of
Right.
negotiating the repair. I mean, we
Right.
can't do that.
Yeah, if you can, if you like.
I did like Shane's suggestion of anonymously bringing it to the city manager, and then from there, let his department, his office handle it.
Let's hear
Where
from the
then
city
we're out of
manager's
it, and our name is not mentioned. That works fine.
Just as long as they look
I
at it.
have no
and
problem with that.
Doesn't
Yeah.
get buried somewhere.
That's fine. So, I mean, I would say from a city perspective, it's probably, that's preferred. You guys are volunteers, let the paid employees take a look at whatever the issue is, and if there's a solution, we'll certainly take a look at it.
Sounds good.
So Paul's also the city engineer, so it kind of makes it a little easier on both ends, so.
A somewhat related issue which came into a meeting months ago, I had suggested as the street sweeper goes by, because it happens to be an issue in front of my house, my neighbor's house, overhanging limbs where they cannot get close enough to the curb. But it doesn't only obstruct a street sweeper. That's emergency vehicles, that's delivery trucks, so my suggestion was, there is no reason why I believe that employee who's operating that machine has the perfect opportunity to just chart down, well, there's an overhanging limb here that does not allow me to pass next to the curb line. I have to,
And we do have the list going on right now, but the problem is, a lot of these trees, when we start cutting down some of these branches, then it's really gonna look not clean for the city of Cape May. Some of these branches, as a resident here, as you're saying, some of these trees are so big that once I take down that branch, it's taking half a tree down.
right, I understand
So, I
that.
mean, that's why a lot of times sweeper does go out and around, because once again, I can't get that sweeper.
But where practical, then those are the ones you
That's-
remove.
and that's what
Where
we're
not
trying-
practical, you don't, but,
And that's
you know,
what we're trying to do
yeah.
right now. I mean, we
Right.
are taking steps to that position right now. It's
Okay.
just- It's slow going.
Oh, I didn't know if there was any action taken on that, but okay, thanks.
So there's an existing list
We have-
already going.
We have, we just started recently, within the last 6, 7 months of that list going.
Yeah, so, so if anyone on the commission, does see something or whatnot, I think they can bring it to,
Works and-
Public Works' attention, and they would address it accordingly to make sure that it's, not an eyesore either, making sure that everything works together.
That's what we're trying to play with right now. It's like, all right, if we take this one down here, we're doing more damage than we need to, and
Sure.
so it's,
Yeah, a lot of times it's not even a limb, it's just the way the tree trunk grew, reaching for sunlight, and it actually just has curvature towards the street. Obviously, there's no other choice than to remove a tree in that case. Do we want to start removing trees? No.
Right.
So, but again, you can assess this on an individual basis. Sometimes it's practical, where it's just one limb needs to be removed, it's not a problem. The ones where you can't,
Yeah.
But it can be assessed, and at least I'm hearing now that there is some type of a program going with this starting.
we just, like I said, we just recently started that within 6 months ago.
Okay,
Learned
that was
what
probably
damage.
after I had made the suggestion
I
going
think
back.
so.
That's probably what happened. That seems about the timeline. All right,
It's
thank you.
slowly going. We're just trying to get out there now to come back and the best we can with the manpower we have.
Got it. Okay.
Fair enough?
So then this would be a three-step process. The commissioner would identify X number of potential sidewalk issues in their district, give it to city manager's office. City manager's office then would assess and hand it off to Public Works when and if necessary.
Correct, yep, I think
Works
that's
for
fair, if that
That's good.
works for the commission.
That works.
Okay.
George?
It sounds good to me, as long as it works.
Okay.
That's taken care of.
Thank you. All right, new business. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to bring up?
I do.
Because I do too, but go ahead.
You're presiding over the meeting. Does the commission want to make a nomination for vice chair of the commission, or do we not need it, per se?
Why don't we wait till Jay gets
Okay, that's fine.
back in the town?
I appreciate you filling in.
I don't
Thank
think
you.
30 days will kill us.
And the other thing is, something something that I think, we don't want to be rats like you were saying, but something that I feel very strongly like, that I'm okay with being a rat is the trees that are trimmed street trees that are trimmed by property owners improperly. I have a tree on my street where the limbs only go about 6 inches up, and the rest is just completely chopped off, and it looks like it's dead. And, I can't imagine somebody else from some other part of town would have been one to trim that tree.
Yeah.
The likelihood that the person who trimmed that tree is the person whose house is right behind it. And that's something that I feel very strongly about, going after these people. Getting them to pay for replacing that tree.
Shane,
Oh,
we
I
actually
agree.
were talking about that
This, yeah,
before the meeting, and I think we all came to the conclusion that the only people that are, or the only entity that's allowed to touch a street tree is Ron.
Right,
Ron's
and the city.
organization, yeah.
And Public Works.
And Public Works, yes.
Man, you could take my job away. Works
Well,
for
we
me.
don't have the solicitor here. Regarding your point, if the person is not caught in the act, can we still hold them liable?
Oh, I see.
Well,
They'll deny it.
I meant to give him a call today. I just had a busy day, so I'm a little behind on all this. But I would say, my opinion is, let them prove that it wasn't them.
Question better addressed to the solicitor next time we can
Yeah, I could do
address that
that.
to him? Okay.
And
There's
start
some
looking at those-
functions in government that you don't go into to win a popularity contest.
Right, of course.
And I don't look at it, Jim, as much as being a rat, but doing what you volunteered to do, which was if somebody's doing something wrong and they're doing it consciously, then.
Right, but that's a little different than the sidewalk issue.
There's a
The sidewalk
penalty.
issue is a proactive stance that we'd be
Right.
taking.
This is-
That's a lot different.
And we could-
We're doing, this is going to be reactive. But this is also reactive.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for.
So I'm going to start my list.
Well-
As a non-city council person, as a non-liaison to you folks, just as a citizen, it makes me angry,
yeah, I'd like to take a look at that tree that you mentioned, actually.
I'll show you after the meeting. I've
Okay.
got a photo of it.
This is the same thing we were discussing before. We had an incident that took place over the weekend. One of the large sycamore trees on Washington Street was cut down,
Yes,
and
What was that address, George?
1207 Washington.
that is correct.
A truck ran in.
I had to cut it down.
Did you see it?
Public
Oh,
Works
you
did.
cut it down?
We had emergency we had emergency. A truck hit a tree, took it down, we had to open up the roadway.
It's a U.S. Foods truck.
That was back on March 25th.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
Oh, so this was an official cut down?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So when I heard about it, I was stopping up and somebody said, oh, there's a branch down in the street. So I drive around the corner and I see Frank and his crew with the lights and the road all closed off. Well, the tree was on top of the tractor trailer.
Wow.
I had Frank send an email to, we copied Shane and Jay the day, at the time of the incident. So both Jay and Shane were notified same day. Because I knew that would be a hot
That's
topic
where-
item.
That's where I'm
you
confused,
know.
because I spoke to Jay about it when I saw it.
He was,
and,
I
he
made
said he knew
sure,
nothing about it.
I made sure that,
Okay.
I apologize, I probably should have sent it also to the district person whose district it was, so
That would.
Jim.
I
and did
apologize
go
that
back
I
and
didn't-
spoke to Ron about, we did approve, for it to be pruned and trimmed going back. He did do that. That was addressed. So we just assumed because of the timing of it that.
no, yeah, this is,
And they just went and cut the tree down.
and so the further follow-up, I had the police do a little more questioning because the police officer didn't quite question to find out, well, because when you saw where the truck was, and if we could, I'll make sure that Connie distributes the pictures to the full board, just so you can see it. The truck was literally in the shoulder, and so my first question was, well, why was the truck driving in the shoulder lane?
that's-
But what happened was, at that time, the ambulance was coming down the street. So you can imagine, big truck, big ambulance, so he slid over a little to give the ambulance passing. What he should have done was pulled over and stopped. I think what he did was slid over and kept going, not realizing he was probably watching the ambulance more than the tree, and
But
he took the
accidents happen.
accident happened. So it wasn't a malicious
Yep.
bad driver or malicious event where they took the tree down. I think it was just really,
While we're
it was an accident.
the tree that would be just west of that, there's one large limb that was trimmed off that tree. Would that have been done at the same time?
I did
Oh, you
that.
took that down?
Yes, we took that down when we pruned that tree. It was,
took that
it was a
limb down.
large dead branch, so while I was there, we just went ahead and.
Okay.
So the tractor trailer actually knocked that tree down or
No,
apart?
I'll show you video pictures out,
Okay.
if you like.
I was trying to,
And just so you all know, that's, the way that sycamore grows, where, people will argue that it's hollow.
Okay.
That's pretty typical of how they grow.
Right. that
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah, it had that huge
It does
split
happen
in
a
the
lot.
trunk, that's correct.
They
Yeah.
said it was literally blocking the roadway on top of the truck. And that, right where that truck was, it was a bad intersection because,
Now,
yeah,
will you guys follow up with stump removal?
that is still being in the process right now.
Yeah.
The reason why we just left it a little higher than normal was, one, I was trying to get the road opened up because we already had the road shut down for 3 hours. We're just trying to get it out of the way. And we are waiting for the contractor to come out this summer.
Okay. All right, at least we have an answer, right? There we go. That's good. It was a bit of a mystery up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should have filled you guys in, I'm sorry.
That's my
That's also
fault.
my fault.
Yeah,
Called me-
maybe,
He called me right after it happened, so I was
Baffled.
like, what?
wow.
Sure.
but I'll make sure Connie passes that.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yes, it would have been. Yeah, you're right.
But we also just had a discussion too about the pruning of trees, which you mentioned. And I just asked Ron, if he pruned any of the trees that are in front of the Virginia Hotel. Now, I know that there's not a lot of space there
They're loved.
because of the street and all, but those trees are really, they're still public street trees, and I'm not sure that they should be pruned by anybody else other
Something
than
was closed.
Absolutely not.
It was west.
Public Works or Meniere's.
Right.
And right now, I mean, they have them decorated for Christmas, it looks beautiful, but those lights are so entwined onto those branches, which is not healthy for the tree during the growing season. So that should be, and I don't know how we get in contact with anybody, oh boy.
But we should notify notify code enforcement, have them contact them and have them remove it, or whoever can remove, removing it.
Yeah, but they really pruned them extensively, like very much so this time,
He's on
which
his way to Acme.
really
Yeah.
shouldn't have been.
Well, we should, once we see that, we should write a letter to them saying, this is
That's
your
what I was
warning. Because who knows if the manager of the hotel even knows
Yeah,
what the rules are.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah, we should, I mean,
You want this one? or-
do we agree on that? Should we,
They both saw it.
well, should we compose a letter to the owner of the Virginia Hotel saying, these are public street trees, they should be pruned by
Yes.
those that are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have Connie write a letter to that effect. Okay.
The only problem with that is you're getting way after the fact.
I know.
And the only thing I can go by is Westgate May that's had the same ordinance that you have now, has had it for a long time. If anybody notices anything, they contact code enforcement, and code enforcement goes after them. They go right to the code enforcement goes, in Westgate May, goes right to the homeowner who cut your tree.
Okay,
Either you did it or you know.
Right.
You're the homeowner, you know who did it. And they ruthlessly take them right to court. I mean, it's
yeah,
not a, you should have known. You do that, then 3/4 of the trees in Cape May could be cut, but you should have known. So
right,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I agree.
the word gets around real quick once somebody.
When somebody has to pay a fine, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Little town, Cape May.
Well, we
Shane, can I ask you, what was our earlier discussion when we were going over the ordinance changes, and we were talking also about having a code enforcement?
Code enforcement's supposed to be here as part of the ordinance. Based on our discussion last meeting, where the ordinance was not well-written, it was kind of confusing, I had a city solicitor shore up the language a little bit, so we had to reintroduce the amendments to the ordinance, so it's not officially in it's not officially law yet. I'm sorry, I lost my track. What were you saying again?
Code enforcement.
Oh, code enforcement. So, yeah, eventually we're gonna have code enforcement come here, once that ordinance becomes,
You mean come to the
finalized.
meetings?
Well, that's what it says in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Shane, can you just give the highlights of what you suggested get tightened up? Because I think it's a good idea. There were some areas there that,
Well, it was the language about, the $75 application fee and then $75 for every tree removed after that.
Right.
And Jim brought it up because we had the applicant who wanted to remove all those trees, and we were going to say, no, you're going to pay for every tree being removed. So,
In Spicer's Creek, yeah.
so, yeah, and I talked to the solicitor, and he agreed that it was kind of confusing the way it was written, so he shorted up for us.
Good.
So I'll make sure I'll talk to the city manager and have code enforcement here at the next meeting.
Okay, that's good.
Because, I think it's important for us, not just from our solicitor, but to understand what the repercussions of, what the process and what the repercussions are when someone violates these things. And,
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of other violations that kind of parallel to what we're trying to do here too, that they can also explain,
Right,
to help us understand as well.
right. Yeah, that's good.
I think Ron's explanation of West Cape May was appropriate in that you can have all the ordinances in the world, but if they're not enforced,
It's a
like
tight
any-
ship.
they mean nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying, that's what we're trying to become more like them. And that's part of what my discussion for a little bit later is going to be about too.
Excellent.
All right, any other new business?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have issues in their districts? No? All right, council report.
Okay, there it is. I
Thank
already
you.
told you about how we reintroduced the ordinance. And as part of that ordinance, I think we need to add more to our application right here. So I have some homework for all of you. I noticed that the West Cape May application, what I'm handing you is a Cape May application for tree removal and West Cape Mays. I've noticed that West Cape May has added some new language, or at least
Thank you.
in the red, you'll notice that they're referring to some of their ordinance.
Thank you.
And I would just like for you folks to jot down, look at the differences between the two applications, jot down some recommendations of what we should add to ours. And we'll move on from there. I think once we have some of our ideas at the next meeting, maybe we can have a subcommittee discuss this and then present to the whole Shade Tree Commission 2 meetings from now about any changes we want to officially make with this.
Did you look at the webinars?
This is the new one, and this is the old one?
This is the front page is currently the Cape May Shade Tree application. The second page is West Cape May's. As you can see, West Cape May has some more, they asked for more things. And as you can see as well, there's some language written in red,
Send it to you in email.
which I don't remember seeing when I was last looked at the application, so.
I think that to have the license of the person that's doing the job, because landscapers are not legally allowed to trim trees
Right.
over a certain size and over a certain height, so.
So just take a look at that and see what you can come up with. Go ahead.
Shane, I just went through 3 sessions of those webinars on ordinances.
Okay,
And
cool.
and a lot of this is in there, about looking at the truck where the tree people are and see if it has a license number on it.
Right.
And also, and they also brought up the fact that in some of these applications, they talked about, you have to put a sketch in,
Yes.
what you're talking.
That's here.
That's-
And
Is
I
that
like
here?
that. That is, it's not in red, it's down,
It
but it
says
is there.
included diagram of the tree's location and clearly marked with ribbons.
Which
Yeah, that's-
is, we
It's
should definitely.
below the red and blue
Yeah,
print.
that's my biggest want.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And other minor stuff, I think we should have the city logo on the front page. And also, I think that some of this stuff that's, and I don't know how factual it is, but my opinion is, some of the things that are in this application should also be mirrored in the ordinance. So that way, if you don't have all the boxes checked, you're not getting through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that way it covers up our side legally, and it's written out for anybody else to understand in the code.
Also, one of the new things that West Cape May just implemented was the application has to be filled out by the homeowner, which I thought that was kind of redundant till they explained it to me, was the homeowners the ones that's responsible for replacing the tree. So without having the homeowner's signature on the application, then that negates them having the responsibility to replace the tree. So now each application's got to be filled out by the homeowner and signed by the homeowner, so that way they're responsible for the replacement that they're supposed to be doing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question, because this happened, we ran into a situation like this last year. The homeowner applied to take down several trees. I gave permission, I checked the property, I gave permission for the arborvitae to be removed or whatever, and there were 3 mature trees on the property that were supposed to be preserved. The contractor came, clear cut, everything, every tree was gone. The homeowner said, oh, I didn't know anything about it because, the contractor came when I wasn't here. The contractor said, well, we thought he wanted everything done. What I had suggested at the time, and I don't know if West Cape May does this or not, but these should be signed by both the homeowner and the contractor so that they both are on the same page with what's actually going to be done. And a copy should be returned to the office from both. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right, because there is a penalty
Actually, a
if,
great idea.
if the contractor violates our ordinance that, so many times that they lose the right to do the work in Cape May. So that does make a lot of sense,
Okay.
because there's a lot of, it puts both responsibility on.
West Cape May has that also, 3 times in a 5-year period. Then you're,
But do they require both filled out by the homeowner and the contractor?
they don't require it by the contractor. If it's a New Jersey licensed contractor and he puts his license on there, and I don't see any reason why a New Jersey contractor wouldn't, I want a copy of the application before I go do the work, so I can read what it says on the
Right.
application, what is approved and what's not approved.
Right, that's
And
what
I
I'm,
think that's the way it should always.
that's what I'm saying, I
Yeah.
think. And I know it's going to be, some extra filing work, but I think it's good for us to have that it would be returned to the Shade Tree office so that we have that in writing.
And also, I talked to Connie about updating our application, and she had some recommendations too, just right off the bat, which
Okay.
I thought was really cool. and
Oh,
exciting.
good.
Shane, can I ask, is there anything of significance on page 2? Because you afforded us the one page, it does say page 1 of 2.
Well, page 2 continues with, see the second half of the page where it says tree type, height, diameter, reason for removal, size and type.
No, but I'm saying, on the bottom of this page, which you
Yeah,
gave us,
the-
it
the
says page
second
1 of...
page.
What I'm trying to explain is this is copied on the back page, so if you had multiple trees.
Oh, okay,
I figured I'd save paper because I don't have a 2-sided printer
got it,
upstairs.
okay.
That's your Arbor Day contribution. You saved paper.
Yeah, there you go. So I figured, I'll take your recommendations, we'll come up with a subcommittee, maybe like a handful of us, and, come up with a template, and then we'll present it to the next meeting, and if we need to tweak it, we can. If we like it,
Okay,
we'll approve it.
that sounds good. How do we form that subcommittee, or should we wait until?
We'll wait till after we hear our recommendations. I think we'll get a feel of who's most passionate about it.
Okay. All right. The DPW report. I guess we're done with council report, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The DPW report. Who knows about that?
The only thing I have is 1207 Washington Street, that's still being worked on. Other than that, it's just
That's all? Okay.
nothing major.
We have to work on submitting our tree replacement, how we do our tree replacement to the DEP. And I think that they sign off on that. Wayne Hoffman was supposed to come from the West Cape May Shade Tree Commission today and speak about that. It's a 7-page report, and you have to fill it out, and you have to be in compliance with the tree replacement, according to the DEP. I don't have that paperwork, so I don't know exactly what all that entails, but I didn't know if anybody else was familiar with that, or...
What's that do, George?
It just shows that the city has a comprehensive tree replacement plan.
Well,
That's our.
So that should be in our ordinance
Right.
now.
right. I need to learn more about that. I need to call Wayne.
Yeah.
Isn't
Find
that
out.
the May 1st, I think it's supposed to be, but I don't know who you get approval from or who you submit it to.
Well, I'm not sure either. I guess
Yeah.
there's DEP, I guess. I don't know.
That shade tree program that they had for 3 consecutive weeks, that was all about municipalities creating an ordinance to satisfy this requirement.
Okay.
But it didn't say who gets it,
Right,
but we have one.
right. We have one,
So-
but we have to submit it to,
I don't know who we submitted to.
that's what we have to find out, yeah.
So what I can do is follow back up with everyone, and get some more info, I guess, after the meeting with what you're talking about, and
Okay.
we'll figure out who we have to submit it with,
Okay,
okay?
all right, sounds good.
And just so you all know, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it, but tonight, if you're feeling extra, giddy, Westgate May's having their Shade Tree Commission meeting at 6 PM, if anybody wants to go.
Okay.
It might be nice just to see how they do things over there anyway. They don't have a camera system set up yet, so, in the future, we'll be able to watch it from our own home, but
Right,
it's always the second Tuesday at 6, just like ours.
okay. Okay.
Where do they meet, Jane?
Right in the Borough Hall, right behind the fire station in Westgate May.
The only other situation that I did bring it up at the last meeting, and Jay said, let's hold off and make sure it's those type of trees that you're talking about. We have that, I don't know how many of you recall, but the owners of 20 Patterson Street came in last year and wanted to take down 2 large maple trees. They were badly pruned repeatedly over the years. So at first, we said no, because they were established trees. We did give permission with the stipulation that 2 trees would be replaced, and they agreed to replace with black gum or tupelo trees. What they did was they planted 2 Bradford pear that are about 2.5 to 3 feet tall. I don't know if we can hold them, I mean, we have it in writing what they agreed to, but I don't know with our ordinance now being passed, would we be able to hold them to that they have to plant those type of trees that they agree upon, do you know?
Well, if it was agreed upon here, we have, when was it agreed upon
It was
last
a-
year?
Yeah,
Well, we
like
already
around-
have the evidence that they agreed upon, it's in recording, so
So-
they're still required to do it, because they agreed to it.
yeah. And the trees that they planted are not, what we would recommend, and certainly not the size. Like, even on this, it says at least 2 inch in diameter, they're nowhere near that. So, should we have Connie write a letter? That's what I would suggest.
What's the address?
20
Tony
Patterson Street.
Patterson.
20 Patterson Street?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You remember that? They,
Right.
They, that was an involved
Yes,
application.
yes, I do remember.
You do remember that.
Well, we should definitely have, we should probably have code enforcement go out there.
Okay.
If I recall, they brought an arborist to.
I was just going to say, you might as well just stay.
Can you give me the address again, and I'll follow up
It's
with,
20 Patterson Street.
George,
And the trees were located,
They actually brought an arborist or.
yeah,
And he gave you a list. and
Testimony,
talked
yeah,
about and
yeah.
Provided testimony, wasn't sworn in, but
no.
Do you know about when this was?
I want to say July.
I would look up for the July minutes, Justin,
Okay.
somewhere around July, August,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
It was during the summer,
actually I
yeah.
have 124.
124 Patterson.
1924, when we discussed
Oh,
the meeting.
1924.
Yeah.
Jane?
That's this year.
At a lot of meetings.
Oh, we've discussed it this year, yes. But
Yeah.
I mean, the actual, when they all came in, that was last year. When the homeowner came in with,
2/13/24. He wanted
so
to put the.
we
Brad-
keep discussing.
He wanted to put the Bradford pear, and it was turned down.
Well, oh, really? Well, they put them. That's what they have there.
so,
And they planted them on the side of the house. I don't really care. We don't have a clause that says they have to go right back where they were. For some reason, I guess they don't want trees in the front of the house, fine. But they agreed to plant, this other species of tree, and then they put Bradford pear in, which are small.
That was the project where they just ran over the construction barriers.
So it's the wrong type of species?
Right.
Planted on that
And
address?
it's the wrong size. I mean, they're really small, but that was not the species, that's not what they agreed upon when we gave them permission to take down the mature trees.
And that's, just so I have the address, 20 Patterson Street?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll pass it on to code enforcement.
Okay.
Do you need me to stay? Do you want me to stay here? I can. I might as well, right?
Just sit there.
Go for it.
Make sure your mic's on.
Watch out, you'll get an envelope pretty soon.
George, while we're on that, if you look at the West Cape May submittal sheet that we have here in red, which would be the second red line down, so that's mentioning about replacement trees.
Right.
Is that significant? Or is it,
The-
it sounds, from what you described, it
size?
almost sounds like the size of tree that they planted.
No, it's not.
It's even smaller than that.
Oh, much smaller, yeah.
Okay.
2-inch caliper is a nice-sized tree. That's usually what we use when we plant new trees along with our...
So this language sounds pretty good then?
Yes.
Adopt something like that.
Yeah.
Agrificial.
And I would just make a suggestion, going back to what you said about that property where they cut down trees that were not approved. It's not required by us, but we all have the ability today with photos, very simple, and maybe if there are multiple trees and only, so many were permitted, might even make sense to take either a short video or pictures of the trees and let the homeowner know that
Right.
I have documentation of photo on
Right.
my phone.
Yeah.
We can store so many pictures, it's so easy in today's world, so,
Right.
just to take a few photos, I don't think is a big deal.
Yeah.
Which I've been doing.
Yeah.
I take photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you see the issues, in real time, feel free, you can send them in, like we were discussing before, you can either send it in to Paul and myself, or if you want, send it directly to code enforcement and let them go out and do their thing and investigate.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to wait either. If you see something, a violation, you can just take it upon yourself and be random. You can do that. Anybody can do that in this town.
Right.
And I think it's probably from a code enforcement perspective, better that you do it in live time, because, then they can react to kind of what's going on in real time. Hey, this is being taken down, this seems to be a huge issue, it wasn't approved, let them, they might be in the neighborhood and they can swing by, but they're not going to be able to know that if kind of that delay is there either.
All right.
That goes for, if you ever feel uncomfortable too, you can always just give me a call. I sometimes say that I'm the walking complaint department, people will call me about something their neighbor's doing, and they don't want to get involved because they're neighbors, I've always taken up the charge to take the extra steps for them, to keep them anonymous. So I'm always willing to take a phone call, for whatever it is.
Shane, in that light, it might, and with the enhancement of the commission with the new legislation, it might be advisable if we can get some business cards or some type of identification thing that you can put on your, because a couple times I've done it, and the homeowner is less than charitably asked, what am I doing here?
Justin, who does the IDs around here?
So currently working on getting, apparently at the end of, I guess, last year, the ID card machine kind of got wonky. So I'm working on getting a new one going. I will talk with Paul in terms of how he wants, volunteers and different boards to be identified, because, as a city employee, your ID is going to probably look a little different than if you're, a firefighter or you're, in the police department. So I just have to get with Paul and talk about exactly, how a volunteer's identification would want to look.
Reasonable.
I found one of my original badges, 2004. What's my photo?
Would you be able to take a picture and email it to me? That way I kind of have a template.
I found it in Pennsylvania, but I know where it is, so I'll take a picture when I go back up.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Justin,
yeah, I have
We have
one.
badges.
You got-
With our pictures.
Would you mind
Currently?
sending me a picture of one? And then that way I kind of have,
You have one now?
George, if you remember,
I guess I'm
we
not
were told
photogenic.
you were
I
going to
didn't
get
take
photo
my-
IDs, and as he just stated, the machine had broken down at that time. And since then, I guess it's never been replaced, never been repaired?
so there was a new one, and kind of me coming on board, somehow it's ended up in my office, so I guess I'm the one that's running with it. So we're
But
kind of,
we were both told the same, me and George. and
Okay.
we were told that the-
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
and
right.
it just.
That was a long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
so working on getting the software and getting everything kind of, rolling out with it. We want to make sure that our full-time employees would have that ID first and then kind of work the way through the various, volunteers that are, with the city. So if you want to send me, the version of what we have, or if you have it with you, I can take a picture of it.
What's your email?
It's jriggs, R-I-G-G-S, @capemaycity.com.
Okay.
And then that way, I kind of have a template on what it looked like, and if we want to tweak it or whatnot, we can
It's a good idea.
make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Hey, George, we were supposed to get new parking stickers for 2024,
I haven't gotten any either.
but I don't know whether Connie was going to do it or Jay was going to make arrangements to get.
I don't know who that comes through. I don't know if it would be
So
with the town.
I'll follow up with the clerk's office and see what was issued last year and get in touch with Connie to make sure that you guys would have the appropriate items.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would you let Connie know when they're available, so that way they can get those parking things as soon as possible?
Yep.
Because meters are on, obviously.
There is an expiration date on that
Yeah,
parking
mine's
test?
from
It's-
2020.
Yes, it should only have the
I didn't even know.
year
The current year.
that you're in. So, I think it's up at the top, kind of where you would, hang it up at, so, yeah.
And it's only for city
I have them
business.
still on my
So, yeah.
rear mirror.
Correct.
In my car.
Right.
And it,
Where it is.
it
Yeah.
probably, it may say certain hours, that it limits to, or it may, have certain areas that it's limited to. So I'll get with the clerk's office and just make sure that,
I can send you a picture of my permit if you want.
sure, might as well, and then I
Then you
can,
can see what was issued in the past.
yep, absolutely.
It's supposed to be for business-related purposes only.
Yes, correct. It should be for city official business only.
Right, it's city official business, right.
Are we talking about the one that's the large parking permit that you put in on your window?
The little hang tag?
I have it in my car right now. in the
So,
parking
so it
lot.
probably says 2023 or
Oh, I have
2024?
other ones that are for parking in the parking lot
Uh-huh.
that are on my rearview mirror.
Right, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, because I have another permit that says, if I have to go look at something, I can put it in my window to show that I'm a shade tree commission person.
So are we talking about the one where if you were, it's a parking meter pass? Is that, just to make sure we're all on the same
That's the
page?
one, that's the large one I have.
The large one,
And which one are you referring to?
the small.
The other ones are
so
the
you
ones that
can
are
park
small,
in
that have a
the
date
lot.
on them each year.
That's what I'm talking
A little
about.
hook, it's.
Yep.
With a little.
Yep, that's from the clerk's office. Yep.
I don't have the
Year.
parking meter.
No, I didn't get one this
I
year
don't know anything about
either.
that.
Yeah, so I'll just see what was issued previously and I'll get with the clerk's office.
Yeah, the large one I have, it doesn't
I don't
have
have
a
any of
date or
them.
anything, it just says shade tree
Well, you're not
commission.
official then.
I guess
And then I
not.
can put that on my windshield,
Mm-hmm.
and they know if I'm at a parking meter,
Sure.
The meeting
I'm
that-
allowed to be there.
Yep, I'll talk with the clerk's office and see what was issued.
Yeah,
Uh-huh, I have one in my car right now.
not pear. I know we didn't discuss pear. All right. Anyone else have anything?
Again, I mentioned this in the past, I'm sorry, I was busy today, and I was thinking about getting it done, I didn't get it done. I want everybody to have a copy of the ordinance inside their folder as a quick reference while we're here, so we don't have to
Very good.
try to remember off
Yeah.
the top of our heads.
Well done.
So that's what I promised.
Will the changes that you're making need to be voted on again by council, or no?
No,
No.
they already were right after the last meeting.
All right, well then, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Report
All
to
right.
You got to use
Likes
it.
the gavel.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, who gets the list of the sidewalks?
That's one part.
Justin, do you
To turn the things
want
off
the
here.
sidewalks that I saw?
Sure.
That were buckled up?
I'm gonna,
West Perry.
I'm gonna walk down and give that to code enforcement, and I'll let them.
Where is your, where's your office?
Do you know where Paul's old office was?
No.
No.
Upstairs. if you go
Oh,
up
yes,
these
I do.
steps,
He's up on the top.
hang a right. So I'm around the corner.
Okay, you're
Up
up on
these
the...
stairs?
Up those steps
Okay,
and around the corner.
okay.
So we can go up
Because I can just, I've got my ID in the card, I can just bring it in and show it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that you have on the...
Yeah,
Oh, then you
yeah.
don't need mine. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can go
that's
You
through
just
that.
need one.
Sure.
Perfect. I'm gonna walk this down to code enforcement, okay?
Okay.
And I'll let them.
Yeah, I think it's
But
code
it-
enforcement.
but
we're
are they
really
supposed to
dependent on
go-
For a lot of this. Follow-up.
Are they supposed to go to code enforcement now?
Well,
I thought,
They're going to do it, we're not.
right, but I didn't think we had agreed on what the next step was.
They're going to check it out, right?
we have to check it out. So I have to rely on code enforcement to see
Gotcha,
if there's
okay.
that issue out there,
Gotcha.
okay?
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Nice to see you.
Another month by.
Have a good night, Ron. I guess eventually, I don't want to get those trees trimmed.
Yeah, I know
Well,
you don't.
You know, but aren't those big evergreen trees, don't they just leave them alone, or do you have to, they all look like branches?
Eventually, as the trees get bigger, they'll start to separate. The leaves will start to separate
And
from weight, from sticking out so far in weight. So
Even though
then
they're
you'll
close-
lose your invisibility. And that, they tend to blow over. So the bigger they get and the wider they get, the more chance they have.
man. They're all close together, though. They're pretty close. They should hold each other up.
Blow over pretty close together too. I mean, you're fortunate where you're at, you have some seclusion between your house and the woods. You got woods behind it.
Yeah, but that,
That still doesn't mean that.
there's a fence behind them, though.
Once they blow over, you take it out, it'll never stay.
No, I know. Oh, God. All right.
No problem.
Oh, my goodness. How are you, Carol?
Good. How about you?
Good. I go to Betty Ann on Thursday.
What's that?
I go to Betty